Okay, guys, welcome back to Let's Get Freaky podcast. Before we get into today's episode, if you are looking to be a guest on the show, if you have a paranormal experience to share and you'd like to come on the show, you can email us at letsgetfreakypodcast@mail.com, or you can find us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube. We're everywhere. You can find us there. DM us, and we'd love to hear your paranormal wild stories. Got a very cool show for you today, guys. Got two awesome guests. We have got Tony Marz and Mary Bly from the Melted Broadcast podcast. Guys, welcome to the show, man. Super excited to
Yeah,
have you here. How are you?
pretty good, man.
Yeah, thank you for
Yeah,
having
thank
us.
you for having us. It's good to be here finally.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk to you guys. We've been friends on X for a while, so I sort of feel like
Yeah.
I know you. And you've got an awesome show, the Melted Broadcast. And do you want to tell us a little bit about that and what got you into the subjects that you talk about?
So, the Melted broadcast, a long time ago, I started researching like the ancient mysteries, mystery schools, the forbidden knowledge, and then of course, a lot of that with the ancient astronaut theorists, it comes with aliens, UFOs, UAPs, and it's something I've always been into. Even as a kid, for some reason, I never like understood it. I would pop on the channel, I'd see a documentary on Egypt, and I'm sitting there glued to the TV, and it's something I always wanted to do, and just start bringing it on to the community and get more people involved, and also hearing the people that I listened to, growing up and listening to the research. I was like, you know what better way than to get the research from the people themselves if I start a podcast.
Yeah, yeah. That's what's quite cool about these subjects. You can get some people that are like you can talk to people that are on TV and you can meet people that you never normally talk to, but when you've got a podcast, you can get them in. And
Yeah.
that's cool. That's why I started it as well, man.
Yeah.
Because you go down some rabbit holes with this stuff.
Oh
I don't know
yeah,
Yes.
about
for
you
sure.
guys, especially like with ancient history and stuff like that. Everyone's got different ideas, and because
Yeah.
we don't really know we've got ideas. We put pieces of the puzzle together. We don't obviously really know what's the truth is. Like we're trying to work it out. And you think you get in there, and then you watch another documentary, or you read another book, or listen to a podcast, and you're like, there's another 10 rabbit holes
Yeah.
you've gone down. And you're like, ah.
Yeah. Or even nowadays, somebody posted something on the X, and you're like,
Yes,
it, it could be
yeah, 100%. My
another
opinion
rabbit hole.
changes daily. Like honestly,
Yeah.
daily. I don't know what to believe anymore.
Yep, I know, right?
So, Mary, you've also got a show as well. I know you're part of the Melted broadcast. You've also got another show as well. Do you want to tell us about that?
Yes, so I have the Unhinged, a Mary Bly show, and I don't get into the topics of the fringe conspiracy theories. I do other topics such as my thing is real people, real topics, real-ish, right? So anybody who's making a difference in the community, doctors, I have people who have been victims of domestic violence, uh, addiction, they're now in recovery, people with cancer, those types of things. So I do co-host the Melted Broadcast with Tony since day one, but I also wanted, my own platform because of my experiences that I've had. I feel I can relate better on that side as well too.
Mhm.
So yeah, I that's a new podcast. So I didn't start that until probably about 6, 7 months ago. So really, it's not that big. I only have like 12 episodes on there, but
Oh, that's
I'm
good,
working
man.
on some things for this year. Yeah,
Yeah, that's really cool. Well, you
thank
guys,
you.
I've obviously been talking to you before we started recording. You've got two amazing studios in your house. Like,
Yes.
so that is
So
the dream.
I know everybody that sees this that follows us on the X, they're going to be like, what's going on here? Why is she in there? Because I'm always in my studio, but I am having technical difficulties with
Yeah.
my equipment tonight. So I just walked on over here and
Yeah,
joined
I'll
his studio.
just go into my other studio.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
amazing. That is the problem with this stuff, the technical side of it. It's something that is because as we were saying before, you feel like you get in there and you know it all, and then something else happens, and you're like, oh, and
Yeah.
You need to
It's
find
like
another.
the forces.
Yeah, yeah,
The forces that be are trying to prevent certain things
Yeah,
from being told.
yeah, for sure. I know you guys are based in Texas. I see the
yeah,
Houston Texans hat
yeah,
on there.
Houston, Texas.
Yeah, you got a lot of spooky goings on around there. It's quite a spooky
Um,
area.
well, I mean, I guess on the paranormal side, I'm not really too sure, because we only focus on like, well, like the things that are happening to us. But as far as like UFOs and UAPs and stuff like that, in our area, we're in North Houston, and things have been wrapping up like a lot since July 3rd, and that's actually when it first started.
Well, July 4th, actually.
Yeah, yeah,
So
What?
yeah, July 4th is when Tony had his experience, and I'll let him, and I did too, but I'll let him start with his
yeah,
story on that night.
yeah.
Morning.
So July 4th, 3 in the morning, I'm thinking like, okay, I'm gonna try to smoke a brisket, which I failed to do multiple times, but I'm like, I'm gonna get it right this time. So 3 in the morning, I go out there, I get everything started, the meat's starting to smoke, clear night, and I go to the side of the house, look up, and I see 7 orbs. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. And at first they were kind of, like zigzagging coming down, and then they stopped and they came, at a 45-degree angle. That's whenever I was like, oh my God. And I have the video, it's on one of our shows. And I was like, UFO sighting, UFO sighting, my first real one. So, I run inside, I wake up Mary, babe, 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 get up, get up, get up. And she's like, she wakes up all crazy. She kicks the fan over, like, it's kind of like the end, it was the end of the world. She's like, oh my God, what? I'm like, babe, UFO sighting, come outside, come outside. And she's probably a skeptic because I'm always telling her stuff,
Yeah.
like she's never seen anything. I've never seen anything like that. So she finally comes outside. And by the time we come back outside, it's three of them. I think they were like in a triangle, and then the two on the right to the left side, they shoot out to the neighborhood, and then that one orb stays right there. And we sat there and recorded it for like 3 hours, and it was changing colors, it was pulsating, it was moving across the front yard. We're watching from the backyard, but you can see it. It was moving across the front yard, and then it just disappears.
Yeah, so when I went, I am a skeptic, right? I mean, I've always believed that there is, we're I've always believed as a child, we're not the only ones. We can't possibly, what makes us different and so special to be the only ones here? Okay,
Mhm.
that was my way of thinking, but I've never seen aliens, UFOs. I didn't delve into that stuff until later on when I met Tony. Now, I also say that if I believe that there's ghosts and I've experienced the paranormal and I believe in, angels and demons and all that, why wouldn't I believe the other stuff too, right? It's possible that it exists. But so with that being said, July 4th, he did wake me up. I went out there. I didn't understand what I was looking at. I was doing the process of elimination, star, drones. It's something that can be explained, is what I'm thinking in my head. But when I went out there, I didn't see all seven of them. He has the video on his cell phone and he showed it to me. And I said, oh my goodness. So what I saw was there were three and the two on the side just zoomed out. And so I'm still thinking, I don't understand what's happening. But before I can, it's like 5 or 10 minutes before I can talk. And I said, go get my phone. And so, I took my phone out and I started recording it. And I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. I've seen stars and I've recorded stars, and stars act differently. The characteristics that they show is not the same as this. So I stayed out there probably in a trance like for about 5 or 10 minutes. I felt nauseous. My head was hurting. And I told Tony, I feel like it's almost too much energy for me, and I didn't know, because I didn't know what was going on. I don't know if it was adrenaline or what, but I finally went to sleep after a few hours and I forgot about the video, and I woke up later on in the day and I said, oh yeah, let me look at that, video that I took. And it was, and we have a lot of this video on our channel that we posted on YouTube. So I go back and I look at the one that's marked at 32 seconds and I'm like, wait a minute. This is not a drone. This is not a star. This is something else different. And I'm telling him, look at this. What I see is a ball, and inside of it, I can almost see the energy, like electricity, and it's got this glowy mist to it. And I'm just watching it, and it's changing colors, and I could see almost like, those LED lights, the round ones, and it almost looks like it's got these lights around it. So I'm still not convinced in my mind, right? But we started experiencing some things, and it's like the more that I would go out there, I would wake up at 3 o'clock on the morning and on the dot in the morning for the past week after that happened. And immediately I'd wake up and say, they're here. And I would try to get his attention, and he's like, oh, and I would go out there and they'd be in different areas of our backyard. And I'm like, wait a minute. Okay. That's so odd that I could sense that, but that's literally what was happening. And, I just was still thinking there's an explanation for this, right? Somebody tell me that there is, and I'm not crazy, and I held on to this information for a long time before I reached out to other experiencers. So when what I learned to do is start going through my video and frame by frame, pausing and going and then looking and taking pictures. And the more that I was looking at that, the more it's like, wait, there's something weird going on here. It almost actually looks like a craft. I do have a picture on my phone that I was going to post on the X, but something happened on the X yesterday. We'll get into that in a minute, but I have that. And when I send it to experiencers that I trust, that I know, that are honest about their journey and who they are, that's the first thing they said. That looks like a craft. That's legit. We've had a lot of things happen here with, I won't even begin to say the helicopters flying over our house and shining lights in our backyard. After we've seen the orbs and recorded. Celestron, he went and bought us some equipment. How is our equipment, when we saw one of the huge sightings that we saw in the front where the helicopters came, like our equipment just malfunctioned. Phone malfunction, a Celestron telescope malfunction, cell phone, the recording devices that we were using to record this, all just shut down.
But
Wow.
whenever that started, so the second sighting that we had was I was driving to the corner store,
Yes.
and again we had the video for people to see because there's so many skeptics in the community, even though they want to see the evidence. But whenever we post it, people want to start talking and want to start hating on it. I'm going to the corner store. The corner store is full. I actually think it's a illegal gambling place because it's packed, but nobody's in there when I walk in. So I pull up, I see two orbs, one on the top left, one on the bottom right. I pull out my phone, I'm like, like, bro, like, how's nobody not seen this? And I walk inside, I call her, I tell her, hey, I'm gonna come home, I'm gonna pick you up, get the telescope, get the camera. We're coming back. So I was in the store for maybe like a minute. I come outside, it's gone. And they were super bright. So whenever we went back to check the video, you can see it's the two orbs, and then you see a ball of light go super fast, just shoot up in between them.
Whoa.
It came from like below and went upwards. So that, and I think that's the night then when we had that big sighting where all the helicopters and stuff came in, our equipment shut down. Was it that night?
That was after graduation.
Well, that just shows you that this is happening a lot since July 4th. Okay, so I
Yeah.
can't keep up, and the only way to keep up is I have all the footage on my phone. But going back to what he was talking about, why I have it posted is he posted his video the other night where he posted the orb, and people are saying it's the moon. Well, actually, it's not the moon because we're outside and we know where the moon was at that point, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, people want disclosure, but when we put this information that we're catching out here, they're saying, oh, no, that's falling angels. Oh, that's, the moon. That's a star. That's your camera. That's something. I mean, you want disclosure, but
Hmm.
yet you don't want it. So I don't understand. We're damned if we do and damned if we don't, by
Yeah.
putting this stuff out there. And I feel like, is it because you're not capturing the evidence why you deny that this is really what disclosure is about? Because we're not
Hmm.
going to get disclosure the way people want from the government. That's just not going to happen.
No.
Disclosure is going to come from us
Yeah,
and
for
anybody
sure.
who's experiencing these things.
Hmm.
But
Yeah.
that's just,
It's difficult with social media because
yeah.
I just feel social media is great. Don't get me wrong. It connects so many people and that's amazing. But unfortunately, with the good, there's the bad, and the bad is you get so much hate on there, man. I experience it. It is what it is. It doesn't bother me too much, thankfully. But
Yeah.
I feel like you just got to ignore that sort of stuff. Put the
Yeah.
stuff out
Yes.
there that you like, and that's it, really. You're gonna get hate, unfortunately, especially when you're putting stuff out that a lot of people are seeing. You're definitely going to pick up a lot of hate. But that's
Yeah.
so interesting. This is quite a new thing for you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Well,
definitely new for me, but
yeah, I mean, growing up, I've always seen like little things here and there, but nothing to where, like we say, if you don't have a picture or a video, it didn't happen.
Hmm.
And, so we kind of took that personal whenever we started like really getting into it. And that's why we bought the equipment. We bought a really expensive Celestron night vision goggles. We bought a drone with the camera. So whenever stuff like really started popping off, and like she said, people were sending drones into our backyard.
yes.
We were like, okay, with helicopters. I was like, all right. So, we have the video again, evidence. So we get the drone, we send it up. As soon as we send it up,
It
they
takes
yeah,
off.
they burn out.
Yeah. We've had since July 4th, we've had some strange things happening here at home, some paranormal activity and things where I think that, maybe our phones somebody's been listening into our devices.
Hmm.
But he's had things happen and I've had personal things happen. I've had missing time. I've never had that before, so I can't tell you what happened other than what I remember from the time I sat there and when I woke up in bed. So I
Yeah.
don't know what happened, but
Wow.
he's
Was
had
it?
Yeah, like also up until having vivid dreams where, sleep paralysis or dreaming of manted beings. We've had, actual shadow people outside our window to where our pit bull, she sleeps with us. She's our baby, and she's real, like if she hears anything, she's gonna start barking.
right.
And after having that crazy dream with uh, the mantis beings, and then like little alien grays coming into our room, like I literally heard we have a sliding door in our room to go to our second back patio. It opens up, and I can hear and I'm like frozen stuck. And then finally I wake up and I see my pit bull just staring at the window, like sitting down. Usually she's aggressive, but at that time when I saw the shadow, it just kind of moved and it was tall, like all the way to the top,
Yeah.
the top of the glass. And it moved and she's just sitting there like if she's astonished. And
Yeah.
and then somehow I fell back asleep and I went back into the same dream with the alien grays, and I woke up with the alien gray in my face, like just the head, and then it turned into my pit bull's face.
Mhm.
Wow, man.
Yeah, it's almost like she was in a trance. Um, our dog. So that was kind of weird. It's not like that's a weird behavior. She's never had that before.
Hmm.
So yeah, but we've had things. I've been locked out of the house where I hear the thing lock and I'm like, wait, who just locked the door? Why are you locking me outside? There have been times when we feel like there's someone in the house and he's been in the garage. And at the time I work from home. So I stay home while everybody's gone. And I had in another room and he would happen to be home that day and he's in the garage and he calls me and said, did you just walk out the door? And I said, no, because the door just opened. And I said, what? And I'm like, maybe like, what are you talking about? So we go out there, we have cameras everywhere. They go off all the time, yet there's nothing there. There was nobody at the front door, but we had the sense like somebody was here. And I've had that ever since.
Yeah, so at that point, that's whenever we upgraded the camera system.
Yeah,
We got cameras on the left side of the house, the right side of the
front,
house,
we have them
the
everywhere.
front, the backyard, and with my other dogs, the German Shepherd and then the mixed breed, he's the little mixed breed. He's man, he hears a leaf hit the ground, he's going crazy.
Yeah.
And we're in the living room. We have another sliding door in the living room to the back patio, and they start going crazy. I look back and I see feet, like barefoot feet,
Mm.
run across the bottom of the blinds. And I'm like, like, oh man, someone's back there. So I'll go grab my pistol and I go back there, nobody's back there. And we check the cameras, nothing.
There was nothing.
There was
Yeah.
nothing there.
But the
Oh.
dogs, when they were on high alert, for like the past few minutes when we were sitting watching TV and they were just barking and barking. I'm like, what is happening? What, yeah, what is going on? Maybe it's a squirrel. I don't know. But our TV faces opposite from the patio sliding door. So during the day, we see the shadows, of the trees or whatever, right? And the dogs when they're running around and we're watching TV and they're growling, the dogs are growling and then they start barking and we see something go by quick, but then he notices the feet and we're like, okay, let me check the cameras. And he's going to get his gun and it's like, there's nobody there. And I don't understand.
Wow.
Like our cameras catch everything. Our cameras will catch a little gnat or mosquito flying in front of it, and it
Mhm.
sets it off.
It's,
So
it's super annoying.
yeah, it's annoying because when I go back, I can see, oh, that was a mosquito flying, you can see it.
Mhm.
But there was nothing that day that like,
Wow.
I
Were they
don't
like
understand.
human feet, would you say?
Yeah, they're human feet. And they weren't like adult feet. It was like maybe, if I had to guess, maybe like 8, 9 years old. Like,
Wow.
yeah, something like that.
But they would have to climb a high fence, you know. But we would be able to catch them
Yeah.
with our cameras the way that they're facing from one side, this side, and then facing our door,
Yeah.
so we catch every angle of our front and back. So it's kind of like, and so to test that theory, then I went out there and I'm walking everywhere. You can catch all of that.
Mhm.
So
Man.
yeah, we've had some strange things here. I've had things where I feel like, again, I don't know I can't say that this is what it is. I'm just saying this is what I'm experiencing. I'm still trying to deal with it myself. But I've had dreams myself since that has happened, where I've had an implant in my ear. And so before that though, from April to August, I did have an ear infection in my left ear for those 4 months.
Mhm.
I was on all kinds of medication and antibiotics and even was sent to the hospital for IV antibiotics and just nothing would go away. So I did have a dream where I felt like there were three bodies, they were wearing all the white and I was in this lab and it was weird because when I'm dreaming this, but I see myself dreaming this and seeing that they're implanting like this long thing in my ear. And as if they're doing that, I'm panicking and I can feel myself panic in my dream. And I start to wake up from this dream. And when I'm waking up, it's like a force just pushed me back down. And again, back into this dream I went and they inserted what they inserted. Now, what's weird is that not too long ago, I kept saying, I feel like there's something in my ear just bugging me, I did CTs, MRIs, everything's clear. But there was this, what I saw in my dream, there was this piece of like a hard type plastic
Mhm.
that I was able to get out. And so I was like, well, that's strange. But it's a dream. Like, what can I don't know how to explain those things. I'm
Yeah.
still learning myself. He's got more knowledge and and this, and he helps me, and tells me, well, maybe you need to listen to this podcast and this interview, and you need to watch this so that I can get a better understanding of what's happening. Because Tony's
Hmm.
been in this journey for quite some time,
Hmm.
so I learn everything from him and go from there.
Yeah. Well, you guys will know that when you talk to abductees, what you're saying sounds very similar to what a lot of abductees experience. A lot of the time, this stuff is in like these experiences seem to be in like a dream state. You know,
Mhm.
a
Yeah.
lot, is it a dream? Or are you? Is it more? Is it more than just a dream? And a lot of the times, that's what it seems.
Yeah, well, they're intense dreams for me, and they feel very real.
Hmm.
Um, so what I started doing is I started journaling my dreams when I wake up, to remember. And I'm thinking, this is so odd that I would dream that. Now, he went to bed one night, and I went into the room. I love to sleep in total darkness because I can see better if I need to. But I went into the room, and out of that day, an experiencer told me, was there anything that happened during the day? Anything that was out of place for you? And I said no, because I talked to him very frequently about it. He's a lifetime experiencer. And I said, well, no, nothing was out of the ordinary. But I remember going into the bedroom, and I sat at the edge of the bed because I was going to get ready for bed. Now, anybody that knows me knows a few things about me. One, never sleep on my back since child. I sleep on my stomach, kind of toward the side with the making the number 4 with my legs, right?
Hmm.
And I'll hug my pillow, and that's how I sleep. And two, I wrap up in a burrito with my blankets. It doesn't matter if it's winter or summer. That's literally how I sleep, right?
Hmm.
So we have our own blankets because I like to wrap up.
Hmm.
Um, that's what I do. And 3, we sleep with rain music on. That's how I can fall asleep. Now, I went into the room. He's asleep already. He's got to get up at 4 a.m. in the morning. I sat at the edge of the bed. My guess is I'm thinking I'm going to get ready for bed because that's normally what I do, put my socks on or whatever, and then get ready for bed. And I toss and turn every night for about 30 minutes to let my brain shut down. I think about everything from the day. And once I close my eyes, then I can be out in 5 minutes. But I don't remember doing any of that. Now, what I remember from that almost 9 o'clock till almost 4 o'clock in the morning is immediately I just woke up. I sat up, no rain music on. The blanket was nicely tucked over me. And I just woke up from the sitting position, and I thought, oh my God, what happened? This is just exactly what I said. What happened? What happened? I was panicked and I was scared because I didn't know what the hell happened. I don't, I don't, I don't know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that freaked me out. And the day that when he left that morning to work, I noticed, okay, my phone, let me just grab my phone. He says, okay, I'm getting ready to leave, and it's 4 o'clock in the morning, and I don't want to really say much because I know he's got to go. But I was freaked out because I didn't know what happened. And so I turned the rain music on, and he calls me at 7:30 in the morning during his break time. And I couldn't go back to sleep because my phone was doing this odd thing where it almost sounds like a hand is being put over the speaker, like I'm about to lose the signal on my phone from the rain music or something. And it's weird because he called me
Yeah.
and
I called her
yeah.
like later on that day,
Mhm.
going back to experiencers talking about, you know, pay attention to what's out of place. So I'm driving to work and I turn on the radio and the channels are changing, but not like regular, like they're just fusing together. It sounded different,
Mhm.
like completely different. The first thing I do when I go outside, I like to stare at the sky. I'm amazed with everything outer space,
Hmm.
and I always see this. There's a star right there, a star right there. I look back to the backyard. That star's right there. That star's right there, and there's always a triangle of stars. And this night, the triangles were somewhere else, like they were out of place. but the other stars were exactly where they're supposed to be. So I take off, I'm driving to work, I'm like, and I'm sitting there like, you're there, you're there. That's not where you guys are supposed to be. So I'm driving to work, I turn on the radio, the channels start shifting, but it's not a regular shift. Like it sounds different. Like it's hard to explain it, but I didn't think about it till she had already mentioned, to me, what happened or whatever, and I didn't think about it till later. Whenever what was it Christian Carroll?
Yes.
Yeah, shout out to Christian.
Shout out, brother.
He started talking about it, and I'm like, man, you know what? This happened, and this happened. And it's just it just made too much sense. And I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think was happening there? Do you think time was being distorted? Distorted? What do you think was going on?
For me, I still don't know. I don't understand. I just know that I was very uncomfortable. I was scared. I woke up with the thought as I was waking up, scared and thinking, oh my God, what happened?
Hmm.
So I don't know, but given from the people that I talk to that are lifetime experiencers, um, they said, somebody suggested I do a past life regression. Someone else also said, be careful doing the past life regression because you don't want to give them too much information to kind of lead you into thinking this
Yeah.
way, right?
Hmm.
So I don't know what was out of place that day for me. I mean, I was working, so I don't really pay attention to I go into my office and I'm locked up all day doing work. And
Hmm.
when he comes home, it's a normal evening. So I don't know. But
I mean, it also could be, maybe some three-letter, government, messing with us because, again, ever since the first sighting,
mm,
we've had helicopters like literally circling
yeah,
our block specifically. Heading to work, I started noticing a whole bunch of black cars and black vans, just parked in different areas. The next morning, when I'm going to work, they're parked somewhere else. I literally saw one dude like looking and he was like taking notes,
yeah,
so I mean maybe they're
Whoa.
watching us, maybe they're trying to get information on what's going on around here because the other main big sighting we had is so I was graduating from a
oh,
technology school
mhm,
and we're on the way back and I was like, man, look at that big orb over there. And there's another one over there.
yeah,
So, we're driving home. Those orbs literally it's like they're following us
mhm.
and they meet at our house. One's in the front yard, one in the backyard. And I'm like, all right, let's go, let's do it. Cameras rolling, night vision,
Yeah.
get the Celestron telescope out, let's do it.
That was the night that was the chaotic night that we call chaotic night. We actually did a podcast on that because that's when we had everything malfunction. The phones were like jammed, like everything. So somebody did mention that was probably the radiation may have malfunction or stuff. And I
Hmm.
never thought of that. I always just thought, okay, because that's the helicopters, right? We're
Yeah.
out there. Yeah.
But the orbs that we saw, they eventually went from the front to the back and they both met in the front. And
Yes.
then the same position that they were positioned at whenever I was at the store, the exact same formation. And then the helicopters started coming. Like if they were chasing them, every time they'll come around close to it, they will fade out. And then they will leave and they'll bring back up. And
Yeah.
then the one on the left side, it started like shape shifting, changing colors. And then it formed a tic-tac shape and started spinning,
Yeah.
and then, of course,
Whoa.
her daughter, she was ordering DoorDash at the time. So we have another witness who came and we're out there with cameras and he's like, what's going on? We're like, man, look, he's like, oh my God, I saw something like this in Venezuela 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Like it was, another true sighting,
Hmm.
and again, people want to see the evidence, but when we show it,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know why it leaves a bad taste in their mouth, but they want to hate on it. That's the moon. A lot of the videos that we show of these orbs, definitely not the moon because we specifically get our Celestron and shoot videos. I bought a camera to put on the telescope that records what we see.
Mhm.
And we actually caught crafts, UFO, UAP crafts, like going across the moon, doing figure eights, one more shoot across, and do a 45 and, phew, and just shoot off.
Wow.
We have that footage on our YouTube channel as well. And people say they couldn't see it, but somebody reached back out and commented, yes, if you can slow it down, change the settings and slow it down, you can actually see it. So I did ask the question, is that a bird? I really did, because again, I'm still
Hmm.
trying to do the
Yeah.
process of
Yeah.
elimination,
Yeah.
I
because
think
I
you've
said,
got to
well,
do that. You have got to do that. You've got to look at all the possibilities. I always jump to the paranormal. So, but yeah, no, it's good that you're doing that.
yeah, I took the video footage from the camera. I'm like, I don't see nothing. Like, if anything, I can see like a nice, beautiful moon. I've never seen that before. So
Hmm.
I took the video footage and I put it up and I'm looking, and I have a big monitor and I'm looking and I'm looking and it's going and I'm like, wait, what is that? Is that a bird? I'm like, that's a bird, right? Somebody tell me that's a bird. And he's like looking at me like, okay, are you serious right now? I'm like,
Nah,
that's
well,
serious.
well, because the first time that I saw it, we didn't have that camera yet,
Hmm.
so we're there looking at the moon.
It's a magnifying camera.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and I'm like, oh my God, babe, I just saw something shoot across the moon, and she's like,
it's a
no,
bird.
she's like, no, you didn't. I'm like, how you gonna tell me? I literally saw something move across the moon and then shoot out, and then she's looking and she's looking, she doesn't see nothing. I
I don't
get
see
back on it,
nothing.
I'm like, I saw it again. I'm like, I'm super hyped. I'm like, yes. I was like, aliens are real.
I'm like, you know
All the
what?
conspiracies are real.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it's probably an explanation. It's probably a bird, so there's a balance here. But I took it and I did look at it, and I'm like, wait, even though that it's slowed down, it's still gonna move that fast.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, a bird's gonna fly that fast. And not only that, but there's one video that we have, but where it comes out from this, from like it came like around the moon, going like that, and then it stops and it just it isn't even, you know, when you're turning a car, right? You got that space to kind of curve that V.
Hmm.
This didn't even do that. It just went forward and then it's like it just reversed, but in a V shape. So it literally
Yeah.
did this pattern right here.
For that speed at that
Wow.
distance,
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
way.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm still said it's
So it's definitely not a bird. So before the 4th of July, were you guys getting any of this sort of these experiences happening around the house, or was there anything else happening, or was it literally that first experience and then it's just
Well,
escalated and escalated?
yeah. Well, before that, I had a big one. Not UFO UAP related, but I had got a real hardcore sleep paralysis situation that I was in. It was actually our first episode, the Whisper Lady, and I went to go lay down in the bedroom. She was in the kitchen cooking, and I wake up and I see this old lady. I couldn't see her face. It was just like long, I want to say dreads, but like really matted hair, all the way down to like her waist. And she's walking up to the side of my bed, and I wake up and I look, and I can't move my head to the left or the right. And she gets closer and closer. I'm like kind of panicking, and she like she stops right next to me. She leans over and starts whispering in my ear. But it was like I don't know what kind of language it was. It wasn't anything that I recognized, anything that I've ever heard before. It was it's hard to describe, but she was whispering it in my ear, and I'm freaking out. I'm trying to like to move, to yell, to scream, and then finally she like gets up and kind of like starts walking away. I'm able to break my arm loose, so I have a dresser, or I had a dresser. This was at our old place, and I get my arm, boom, boom. I start banging it on the dresser. She runs in, and I tell her like, babe, this is, this like just happened right now. Literally, this lady came in. She started,
But you were
yeah,
screaming. He says he was screaming, trying to get my attention, and I never heard him screaming. But I'm guessing that's part of the sleep paralysis part, right?
yeah, and it also felt like hours. Like I was in there for hours,
Wow.
and she was like, "You're only there for like 15 minutes." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Negative. I was there for a long time," and she tormented me.
But
Wow,
this
man.
is, yeah, this is the same that he's been experiencing for a while. But as far as me, nothing happened prior to July 4th. Now, Yeah, I'll make this brief, but it's important for me to say this because according to one of our closest friends, Christian, thank you so much. I talk to him a lot because I confide in him with a lot of my stuff because him and Mac know, right? Um, we were talking, we were having a conversation, and all of a sudden it dawned on me. I said, "Oh my God, wait a minute, July 4th. This is a significant date in my life." And I'm going to say why. July 4th, 12 years ago, my father was killed. And that was a very traumatic time. And I have been able to astral project since a child. So I did that looking for him, right? Because I need him back at this point. This is 12 years ago, July 4th. And I went what I call levels. I didn't know it then, but now that I'm understanding their dimensions, but I didn't know that terminology back then, right? I did, like I said, I'm new into learning all of this, but I would go into levels until I went to the like past the library. The library,
The Akashic records. Well,
right?
what I believe, she reached the Akashic records.
Right. And it is
Wow.
how I describe and how I can describe this library to you. The colors and everything, what it looked like. Once I was able to pass the library, then I was at another level. And there's where, he communicated with me. Now, we didn't speak with words, we telepathically communicated. And he told me, and I didn't understand it until recently when I talked to Christian, but I always assumed it was something else. But he says, uh, you're not supposed to be here. It's not your time. You got to go back. It's not your time. Now, I took that back then 12 years ago as it's like not my time to die, right?
Mhm.
But I knew he wasn't in heaven and I knew he wasn't in hell. I just knew he was in a different dimension at that point. So I was telling him that I was telling Christian this, and I said, he goes, "This is how disclosure happens." And so now I get it. I've always been with the number 12. It never dawned on me July 4th, 2012, my first experience, July 4th, 2024, 12 years to the date. Now I have to dig into my number, and now I have to dig in further down that information. But
Wow.
that's how I'm learning how disclosure works. But that's
Mhm.
the only things, and I didn't know it for like 6 months, like 5 months, because I just found out about it probably a month ago when we were talking to Christian. But
Wow.
he says that's usually how disclosure works. We
Yeah,
were talking about,
And
that's wild.
that was actually episode 2, the Astral Trace Station.
yeah,
So whatever we first started, she interviewed me for the first episode,
yeah.
and for the second one, I interviewed her.
And you can tell we were at the very beginning stages, not knowing anything about podcasting and talking.
Well, I bring up the Astral Trace Station because she's saying that she's going through these different dimensions,
Yeah.
and in this astral projection that she had, she was on a train traveling through these different dimensions.
Well, the train was the
Wow.
entry point for me.
Yeah.
The train was, this train never stopped. It kept going, but there's other entities there and they're stuck. And this was at a house and I didn't know it until we did research. There was actually a train station way back in the
Oh,
1800s
that's
at that point.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I started looking it up, and there was an actual train station
Yeah.
where it was like an old
Where they transported
yeah, they
prisoners.
transported prisoners.
Yeah. Now, we
Wow.
weren't together at that time. This was like 12 years ago, right? So, I know that the house was always in that specific bedroom. It was when I would try and lay down, I got everything going in my head from the day. I'm trying to unwind, like shut my brain off. It takes me about 30 minutes or so, but it was so loud. I could hear so much in the silence of it all before even falling asleep. But it was when I would go to sleep, yes, it was a train station and there were entities that were there on the platform. The train never stopped. It just kept going, but somehow I ended up in there and that's what transported me into me reaching the other levels. Now, I didn't stay in the train the whole time. There were things that I was doing where I was going up as far as flying up, climbing ladders, in the elevator, And
Hmm.
then until I got to the library. Now, at that library, I was just kind of so amazed by what it looks. I mean, I can describe everything in there. And I remember looking up and thinking, I got to go up there, but this library is never ending. And so I just flew straight up into the light where I reached my fifth level. Yeah. But
Wow.
yeah,
And you were just doing that naturally without even knowing really what you was doing. Is that right? You was naturally doing that and you didn't really know what was going on, or
uh, not in the beginning. Now, when I was a child, I didn't know that's what I was doing, but I figured out how to do it.
hmm
I started my energy when I do it to in order to fly, and I don't mean flying with my wings like this. I mean being able to, just fly, around wherever I want to go. My energy gets focused into my hands, and that's my lift off.
Yeah.
So I put all my
wow.
energy, focus it all into my hands, and once I have everything that's full, I can lift off and go and travel. Yeah, it just
Wow.
to me it used to be like, let's see how far I can go this time.
Hmm.
Let me go start with one tree and go over here to this building. And over time I was able to just go further and further.
And then that's something
Wow.
that me and her actually share.
Yeah.
Whenever it happens to me, I guess she does it with her hands. For me, it's more of I hold my breath and then I push it down and I'm able to fly, everywhere. And same thing with astral projection. Like it's getting to the point where I could see things so clearly. The other night, I was awake, but I was, kind of like remote viewing almost, to where I was looking at a mountain and I was above it, and it freaked me out because it was so vivid. Like I jumped out of bed almost.
Wow. And can you just do this anytime you want to do that? You can get yourself in that.
Well,
That.
the vivid, like the remote viewing almost,
Hmm.
it's something I've always been able to do. Whenever I'm thinking of something, I could like literally see it in my head, the color, the texture, everything. But as far as astral projection, I've only done it twice, and it was years ago.
So
Wow.
for me, it would have to be in a point where it's something that one, I really want to do because there's something I want to go and see.
Hmm.
And two, the other thing would be, it would have to be in a relaxed situation where I'm have possibly, maybe even meditate to get into a relaxed state. So if I do, it's usually in my bedroom where everything is quiet, and then I just focus. And what I do is I focus on my third eye, basically.
Hmm.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot that
Wow.
I'm learning to do. But
Hmm.
I find that once I can do that, it opens up a portal and I can do what I need to do. I
Wow.
don't know if I would call it remote viewing because I'm still learning about that. But
Hmm.
I've had where I've told him, okay, when I did this, when I traveled, um, it was back it was an ancient time, and it was something that was being constructed out of stone, and it was something very important that had to do with a ruler and or an emperor or something very important that was going to rule this. And I got distracted and ended up outside of the temple that was being built, and I see the woman going through, and I'm thinking, okay, is she going to be the one? But I always tell him, don't wake me up in the middle. Like I tell him all the time, if when I'm sleeping, don't wake me up. Everybody knows I do not want to be interrupted in my sleep. And I finally had to say, look, I don't know when the time will come whenever I astral project or go traveling. I don't know when that will be. I don't, it's not something that I say, okay, today I'm gonna do this.
Hmm.
Don't wake me up when I'm sleeping because I don't want to get stuck. Now I've been warned by a really close friend from years ago who did this. Like he discouraged me from doing it because he felt I could be stuck out there. And if I die there, I really die here. So he encouraged me not to do it, but sometimes it can't be helped,
Hmm.
and I said I
Yeah.
wouldn't do it, but there's been things going on here with the paranormal and, just weird stuff that it's kind of just like all just
Feels
happening.
connected. Yeah. Yeah. Man, can I ask you what the entities look like that you see when you're astral projecting, when you're in that state?
So when I see the ones that I have seen, I can't really distinguish the features of their face. They don't look scary, but they don't look friendly, if that
Hmm.
makes sense.
Hmm.
There's a darkness, around them. Their face looks maybe like, if I could, for example, like my father. I sensed it was my father. He looked like it, but he didn't look like him. So his face was like distorted in a way that almost doesn't look human.
Hmm.
So those are the types that I've seen. I don't know if I mean, I'm sure there's other types, but as far as when I've done it, these are now some just ignore you. Some don't, if you can sneak by, they don't notice you. If you blend in, they don't notice you. So I've never had a situation where they all stop to, you know, like who is she or point fingers. I mean, they see me, but it's like a way I blend in with them, if that makes
Hmm.
sense.
Yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
and the places, that I visited, it was literally a mountain like made out of marble with water that seemed endless, and the other one was like a sand planet with the city was like completely demolished, and a big moon or a big planet, some big planet.
Yeah.
That's wild. So interesting. It's
That's
so
why I
interesting.
say it. That's what I said earlier. If I believe in paranormal and ghosts and all that, and I believe about astral projection, or I know they don't like us to call it that, but
Hmm.
traveling to other dimensions, if and I know that I can do that. If I've done that in that, why wouldn't I believe
Hmm.
in the UAPs and
Anything's
stuff,
possible.
right? It's
Yeah,
just,
for sure.
you know,
Yeah,
that's
Man.
yeah.
Can I ask you about so you said you've got the black helicopters, did you say, that are
yeah,
looking into your house? They've obviously turned up. That's quite a recent thing as well.
Yeah,
yeah. So
yesterday
yeah,
actually,
so yesterday,
yeah,
we had a
Yesterday.
sighting, in the backyard,
yeah.
or no, it was 2 nights
Oh
ago.
yeah, 2 nights
Yeah,
ago.
we had a sighting in the backyard. I'm
Wow.
I'm I'm recording it, and well, matter of fact, she was coming from the store, and she was like, there's another orb. So I go to the backyard. She comes home. We start recording it, and there's like, at first it was six. Last night it was 12, and it was at first it was like, I think maybe like four. It looked like Houston, police
Yeah,
helicopters,
police
and then
helicopters.
two all black,
Yeah.
black tinted
Mhm.
windows. No numbers on the side,
So
like all black choppers.
so when I went to the store, which is a few blocks away, and I called him and told him he went out there to record. And what I find interesting is that he has the laser, and he was flashing the green laser up there, and it started pulsating. So I'm like, wait a minute, I'm blind, but I can see that's a huge orb, and I can see it. Is it like pulsating? What the hell? So he's doing that. But when I'm coming back from the store, I call him and I say, there is literally, as I'm driving back down the street to get into the neighborhood, there's one, two, three, four, five. I'm saying there's 6 helicopters going that way. Oh, and there's a black one, all blacked out. There's no numbers to identify it, but it's all black,
Yeah,
and they're all flying over our house into this neighborhood. So when I pull into the neighborhood, I can see 4 more, and I have a video of it, and they're all lined up in one line just over the neighborhood.
yeah,
And I'm thinking, what is, and a matter of fact, they were out there again tonight. So I'm like, I don't understand what is
Whoa.
happening here. But that's where we saw that big orb that likes to go and move over there to that side.
and never before July 4th, only after the fact. Whenever we started having all this activity,
Yeah.
then it started, showing up and showing up,
Yeah.
and all this paranormal stuff started happening.
Yeah, we've
Yeah.
been here for 3 years and we haven't seen the helicopter. Now we've seen planes go by, but we've
Hmm.
never seen the helicopters until after July 4th. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Mhm.
And working at the airport for the past few years, working night shift, I know what planes and helicopters look like.
Hmm.
Actually, my night shift, that's where I would listen to your podcast.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
I'll put
cool.
you in my ear and go do my work.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cool. Wow. Man,
So
that's
what's been
wild.
happening.
yeah. So
Yeah.
that's
So
that's the
is
update.
wow,
Yeah.
man. Is there anyone else in your local village, town that is also having similar experiences?
No,
Well,
well, I do have I'm my son-in-law who's here. He is a experiencer and he's a believer. So when I show him our videos, I'm like, oh look, he goes, oh yeah, they exist. It's like nothing to him. It's like, oh yeah, you just barely finding out about it. Like I've been knowing this, and I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, but so there's a few people. There's a chapter here, right?
yeah.
Other
Actually,
people.
yeah. Actually, we got contacted by Houston MUFON, and we actually went and did a presentation for them. And it was we did a live episode. It was freaking amazing. A whole bunch of experiencers there.
Yeah, and they've even told him that the video footage we're showing, they're like comparing what theirs, and it's like it's the same thing they're seeing too,
Yeah,
that they're experiencing too.
Interesting.
Yeah. So there's people out here. We just didn't know about it until
yeah,
we
yeah,
went to
yeah,
the Houston MUFON.
Yeah.
yeah. We didn't know until about like 3 months ago. Not even like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
That's wild.
November, I think
I
November.
honestly thought we were alone.
Yeah. Really thought we were alone here because we do tend to stay here
Yeah.
in our surroundings and not venture out.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Wow. Is there any talk where you guys work at the airport? Do people say about things in the sky? Is anyone else talking about it? Is there talk there?
Well, um, to be honest, I'm not really sure. I never really talked to anybody. I just, did my work, but definitely paid attention to the skies and, the aircraft going in, coming out, and helicopters and all that.
Hmm.
Seeing shooting stars. I think I saw like 5 in 2 weeks. So
Yeah,
I mean,
cool.
I
Yeah.
know the difference.
Yeah,
I
for
know the
sure.
colors, the shapes, the sounds.
Hmm.
Like it definitely wasn't that.
He's so
Yeah.
nice. He's so nice because, I'm the opposite, but so that's it. We balance each other out. He posted the video of that orb from a few nights ago, and people were just so ugly with their comments. And I'm like, why don't you say something? But he
Well,
makes a good point.
Well, for one, like I don't want that stuff, on my platform.
Hmm.
Like people could talk all they want, but I'm not gonna feed the fire, give them what they want by, reacting in a
Yeah.
certain manner. Plus, if I do, you know, oh well, look, Tony Marsh from the Melted Broadcast, you know, he's freaking scum, he talk to us like this when we just commented on the video. I don't
Hmm.
want to be that person.
He's so
Yeah.
nice.
It's hard. I know. I get it. It is
He's
hard.
got a good heart. He really does. But it
But
makes me mad because I feel like he's getting bullied, and I really cannot stand
no,
bullies.
Oh no,
no,
if I was getting bullied,
no.
trust me,
He can take
she knows
care.
me. She
He
knows
can
me.
take
I'll
care of
freaking
them.
lose it. But
100%.
when it comes to the show,
Yeah.
I'm trying to build something,
Yep.
so I have to do what
Hmm.
I have to do to put it away
Yep.
and keep the show going and be respectful.
Something I say quite a lot to people is that when I feel like personally, when you're getting like negative comments, that's actually a good thing because that means you're getting out
They're
there
talking about it.
they're talking about it. You're getting out there to a lot of people.
There's no such thing as bad publicity
Exactly. And the
unless
best,
you're Jeffrey Epstein.
yeah, for sure. And that's another rabbit hole. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Oh yeah.
But the best thing to do is to ignore them. And because
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
that's gonna bug them even more because they want a response. So
Yeah.
ignore them. I even sometimes like a negative comment because I give them a like.
Yeah, but
Thanks.
the crazy thing about it is like the next day and the day after and the day after.
They
You're
come
still
back.
talking.
No,
Yeah.
not even that. Like the comments replaying in my head over and over and over, and I'm like, ooh,
Yeah.
you're lucky.
Yeah. You take that to the gym. Take that to the gym.
Yeah, it drives me nuts, but
Yeah.
I'm trying to chill.
Yeah. No, it's
Well,
difficult. It's
yeah,
difficult.
he wants to represent in a good way.
Mhm.
So he'll when he started the podcast, he did tell me that he doesn't want us to be like investigative reporters. We're not gonna discredit them. We're not gonna treat them any other way, but with respect because
Yeah.
it's their journey.
Like I don't want to be an interrogator. I
Yeah.
don't want the episode to feel like that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Because I've seen other shows where people come on and they're like hitting them hard, like, well, what about this? And how come
Yeah.
this and that? Or it could have been this. And I was like, dude, like, let the
Hmm.
guy tell his freaking story.
Hmm. Yeah, for
Right.
sure. Yeah, 100%. Because you guys, you're the ones that are experiencing this. So yeah, this is your experiences.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's,
Finally, we're
it
on the other
sounds
side of
like
the fence.
it sounds like this is very much, it is the beginning of the journey because this is very new and it sounds like this is nowhere near the end. This is going to continue. I hope safely for you guys. But it's very interesting, mate. It's quite scary that there's black helicopters. People. You say people watching you like in black cars, and I mean that's. I'm going to say Men in Black. That's the sort of the thing I'm getting there, man. Which is quite
Yeah.
scary. It's a scary thought.
Yeah, that's what I think too. So we talk about it. I mean, I know we sometimes joke about it to make light of it, so it's not too, because at one point it was becoming too much
Hmm.
for me, I know, and I know for him, and it was just like overwhelming. But we said, well, somebody's gonna come knock on our door and take us away, and what's the first thing we're gonna say? We want a lawyer. I don't know.
Well, yeah, yeah. Off the rip, I want a lawyer,
I want a
but
lawyer, like,
but like it really did hit me
yeah,
like the severity of it until we did the Houston MUFON conference, and the sweet elderly lady, she came up and started like helping me roll up the wires and stuff because
yeah.
we brought a whole setup for the live event, and she looks at me and she's like, "You're really brave," and she gives me a hug, and I'm like,
Ah.
"What do you mean? What did I do?" So at that moment it hit me like, like, is it really that terrifying? Like, is it really that that bad that we're coming out and
No,
like exposing what we what we're seeing?
I think from her point of view, because I feel it, the reason why I didn't want to come out and say anything to anybody, because I didn't want people to think that I'm nuts, that I'm crazy, and that I belong in a place, because that almost happened to me. And I was, told, you have 1 week to sort out your affairs and then you're going. And I was kind of like, oh my God, if I say something about this stuff, like, who's gonna believe me? They're gonna think I've lost my damn mind.
Man, look, free rent, 3-course meals.
No.
The whole room's padded, so you don't have to worry about a bed.
Oh my God, I'm about to punch him out.
I think we'll be all right.
Yeah, for
No,
sure.
I don't, mental health is a real thing though, and I
Hmm.
think for her it was more like somebody's talking about it, and it's a brave thing for them to do, knowing what the stigma all around it is, and the people on this side are gonna say, you've lost your damn mind, your marbles, you're crazy. And then you have this side who supports you and,
Hmm.
understands in their experiences too,
Yeah.
um, even people who may be in the dark, like feel like they're alone, they're not alone. There are people out there. And the best advice that I was given, that we were giving from one of our people that we interviewed, was like, you got to be careful who you tell these things to. Find a good community that will support you 100%. So,
Hmm.
I think she may have, she's been going to the meeting, so I'm thinking she may know something or has experience, but is too afraid to say something.
Hmm.
Maybe age plays a role in it. I don't know. She was an older lady, but she was the sweetest lady that helped him out. And
Yeah.
so,
And then, like seeing me, Mexican all tatted up and she came up to me like nothing, like real slow, all nonchalant, rolling on my wires for me. And I'm like, and then yeah, it was
yeah.
it was a cool experience, but
Hmm.
it was, also just other people's mindset, because I'm always thinking when people look at me, they're like, "Oh, you're a thug," but if they really knew me, oh, he's a freaking nerd.
He's never even been a child.
Yeah. No, you guys are cool. You guys are awesome. And it's
Thank
great.
you.
It's great what you're doing. I think it's really cool. And I think oh, did you see a white thing go through my screen then?
I saw that it was a big orb,
It's
What
like an
was
orb.
that? Oh man,
bro.
that's been.
That was huge.
Oh man, that's been that happened the other day. Something went across my screen, and it's happened again. I have to look
That's
back and see that.
crazy.
That was weird. That was weird. I've never seen it on the screen before. That actually happened live in front of me. Wow. What was I going to say? Well, I think with the paranormal, with UFOs now, and it's really out there now, like never before. Like so many more people are talking about it. I think most people that I come across anyway, I know I'm in a paranormal world, but most people believe that there's more going on.
Oh
I
yeah.
would I would say that you've got the drones that we've had recently where it was going crazy in New Jersey with the drones. This stuff is like it's everywhere now. I think we can all accept that there's more going on. What it is, we're trying to learn. That's why we're here. We're trying to work it out.
Yeah, for sure.
But I think people that believe there's nothing going on and that this is all not real or whatever, I think they're the crazy ones, to be honest. Because how can
Yeah.
you not with what
Yeah.
we're seeing now, with what we've got, and so many people have had experiences, all of us, so most of us, I would say. So they're the crazy ones.
Yeah, for
Right.
sure.
Yeah, I think that there's a connection. I'm not sure what it is yet. I would like to know and trying to learn about the paranormal with the UAPs and NHI. I think
Hmm.
there's a connection of some sort. What it is yet, I don't know.
Hmm.
And then I think the other thing about the disclosure part, I think now with AI, it makes it difficult for people to try and believe your story because
Hmm.
AI is so big.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that's the other thing.
Yeah.
But
And we can all get AI very easily. It's there for
yeah,
all of us. So I used to think that was done on purpose so that we can all
Yeah.
put wild stuff out there, and it makes you doubt everything you see, which
Oh
maybe
yeah, for
is
sure.
a part of it. But yeah, man, this is a difficult question, and I know this is an ongoing situation that you guys are in. But what do you think these objects that you're seeing are at the moment, as of today? I know this could change, but what do you think these things are?
So so for me, I think it's so I mean there's different theories. It could be us, in the far future, time traveling back for us to fix something, or it could be what the ancients have all seen. Like, you got the famous picture on Ancient Aliens, or you have, the craft shooting across the sky, like in the Moses era, and there's a little man in there. It could be the Anunnaki, checking up on their subjects,
Hmm.
the Palladians, the Galactic Federation, I mean, who knows? But to me, I don't think it's anything malevolent. I think they're here for a reason and they're here to help us out. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna get some backlash for that, but I don't care. It's my belief.
That's it,
It's
100%, man. Yeah, 100%.
for me, am still trying to figure that out. I know that in the beginning when I was experiencing them, I was having headaches and feeling nauseous, almost like too much energy for me. But I don't feel that I've been hurt by them. Like I don't feel like it would hurt me. Um, I believe that it's what my ancient people have always talked about, and that's the ancient aliens. Because from the Aztec perspective, they talked about this flying knife that they didn't know, they didn't have the words to describe what an airplane was or anything. They just were able to draw pictures of what they saw. And when they landed, it was all these gods they came out that created civilization.
Hmm.
They believed in the stars and 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 all that. So I think that my ancestors are trying to communicate with me through these orbs. So that's my personal take on it. I
Hmm.
don't know. I'm still researching it, but as of right now, that's how I feel.
Did you see that orb?
I did just see that, yeah. And I
Yeah.
think I've seen two while we've been talking on your
So
end.
There
we
was,
have a lot of spirit
there was
orbs
like there
here.
was like three of them.
Yeah, we
Really?
have a lot of spirit orbs here. My oldest daughter is very in tuned with the paranormal. So when she first came to the house, she did say, right here in this one spot is something here, and I'm sensing an older man. And I said, oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So some of my children are very sensitive to that and can sense and have seen things, but that's their journey to tell. And some don't want to talk about it, and others are open to talking about it. So, but
Hmm.
she did mention that. So we do have a lot of spirit orbs around here Yeah,
Interesting.
even in our backyard, even with our night goggles, we can see you can see all the dust and dust particles and all that, but then you also see the perfectly round orbs.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So interesting. I'll ask you, I know we're coming near to the end of our time, but can I ask you the black helicopters that you're seeing and I'll say the agents that are possibly watching, do you think they're watching you guys because of the information you're getting, or do you think they're looking for these entities? And I know that's
Um,
difficult.
yeah. Um, to be honest, I'm not really too sure because I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't had a knock on the door yet, but I do know that they're around this neighborhood for a reason. The orbs are here. Maybe we're not the only ones seeing them. I know that they've shined lights in our, what I did notice and what I've started to learn is when we don't engage, nothing happens. No helicopters appear. There's
Yeah.
no unmarked cars. There's no paranormal. But when we engage with these orbs,
If we go outside and look for it,
helicopters
yeah,
come.
they come. And
Interesting.
like as far as the neighbors, I mean, to me, it's like, how can they not see it?
Our neighbors, yeah,
They're super bright.
we're literally out there recording and I'm blind and I can see it because of how huge are. None of the neighbors, and they can be outside. Nobody's catching this. Nobody's paying attention to the helicopters. And so I'm like, am I seeing things? Am I like really losing my mind and seeing these helicopters when they really don't exist? So I take my phone out and I start recording because they make me feel like, am I the
Yeah.
only ones? Literally, our neighbors don't see
Yeah.
nothing,
We
right?
we even paid for a nap where it shows all the helicopters, whether commercial,
Yeah.
I guess like private, government, military,
Yeah.
and then unknown. And there's nothing there when there's like 6 helicopters going over our house and there's nothing on the
Wow.
freaking
None of
radar,
them show
bro.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, nothing.
But on any other day when we don't engage and we don't see them,
Yeah, there's
you can see
helicopters.
helicopters
Yeah,
on the app,
yeah, flying from this.
airplanes.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's crazy.
That's weird.
So I don't know. People can take what they want out of this and make their own decision. But when we do not engage with these orbs, nothing happens. There's no
Interesting.
nightmares, there's no dreams, there's no lost time, there's no paranormal.
well, I still have bad dreams,
But you've always had bad dreams
like really,
since forever.
yeah, really bad vivid dreams.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you've always had that. And I think it's the whisper lady that he always has dreams about her
Yeah, that's freaky, man.
as a child. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Man. Super. I just saw another orb as well. Just saw
Did
another
you?
one fly past. Yeah.
Yeah, we see it.
Whoa, man.
He has
Guys, super interesting. Thank you so much for coming on and sharing your experiences. And as I said, it doesn't sound like this is anywhere near over. So I'd love to get you back on, maybe get an update in a few months or whatever. If you guys are
Yeah,
happy
for
to
sure.
do that, I'd love to get you back on and talk more because this doesn't sound like it's over. But thank you
Yeah.
so much for sharing. It's incredible stuff and
Thank you for
very
Yeah.
very
having us.
Yeah,
interesting.
thank you so much,
Oh,
man.
thank you. You're welcome anytime. Can you tell the listeners where they can find you and your awesome shows?
Okay, so if you guys want to check us out, go to YouTube at the Multi Broadcast. You can check us out on Twitter, now known as the X, at Tony Marz MB. That's Tony MARZ, capital M, capital B. You can find us on Rumble at the Multi Broadcast, Spotify at the Multi Broadcast, and don't forget to check out her show.
Yeah. So you can find me on the X, formerly known as Twitter or the Upset. I don't know. Whatever. It's the same thing. You can find me there at Mary Bly, capital TMSB as in boy. You can also find the Unhinged, a Mary Bly show on YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Rumble. And I forget there's other apps too, but yeah.
There's so
You can
many.
YouTube. It's a lot of apps, but yeah, you can catch me there too.
Yeah,
Awesome.
like, follow, subscribe.
Awesome. Yeah, and give 5 stars and all that stuff. Guys, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure talking to you. As I say, come back soon. Keep us posted. I'll share all your links in the show description so people can find you easily. And yeah, just thank you so much. Keep up the good work.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Keep looking out for those black helicopters, man. Keep an eye out. Guys,
brothers.
Peace.
thank you so much for listening. I hope you've enjoyed the episode. If you have, share it where you can. That is a great way to support us. I just saw another orb in the corner of my eye, so I'm freaking out. We'll be back very soon for more freaky conversations. In the meantime, stay safe and keep it freaky. Thank you, guys.
Yay.